Hey guys, another quick triage video. As you recall, a collector shipped over his whole collection last fall for me to restore, and believe it or not, even after all the triage videos I've done, there are still 2 or 3 sets we haven't looked at yet, and this is one of them. This is somewhat of interest to me too. I'll tell you why in a moment. It's Philco, and it's got some potential issues that may make it a non-starter, so that's what I want to get in here and check out. It's a cool cabinet, nice mahogany cabinet. I think it's a 12-inch set, of course black and white. One problem is it's missing all the knobs, except I guess the fine-tuning. Let's see if that's original or not. I believe the originals are metal. I may have some spares. If not, I'll have to see what I can come up with. It has a built-in antenna and a control on top to trim it up. I think this goes to a trimmer cap. A little bit of cabinet damage, but all this is pretty good. Knobs, it's annoying, but not the end of the world. But the real issues lie inside. I spoke too soon, actually. The cabinet's delaminating, at least on this side. When I pushed on this, it really bowed in. And I can see that not only is the veneer separating, but so is some secondary wood. That's interesting. It's kind of a low-cost cabinet, at least on the side. So you have a poplar frame, but this piece of wood's only that deep. Then there's a couple thin layers of wood, and that's it. So this side is very, very, very thin. Top is solid. Top is plywood. In other words, the top and the bottom are 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch plywood, but the sides are nothing. 1/16 of an inch thick, maybe. All right, but yeah. So here are the potentially bigger issues. The base has been busted off the CRT, but it might still be good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh shit! Had not noticed that. The nipple's busted off. I was about to say, we still have all the wires. It could be straight out of the base, reattached. No. That may even have been intentional. Because if you want to safely let the air back into one of these CRTs, you bust off the base and you take nippers and break the seal there, and the air will gently rush back in and it won't implode. Okay, so we definitely need a new picture tube. So I'll talk to the owner about that. I think it's 12LP4. I'm sure it is. I'm looking at the info over here. So it's a model 50T-1404. We have some rather nasty looking corrosion down here. Maybe something just spilled here and it's not pervasive through the whole set, but I won't know that till we pull it out. You can see it look like some rodent droppings in there, so it could potentially be kind of ugly. Light surface corrosion. Some tubes have been pulled for whatever reason. This is what would have plugged into the CRT. And then the high voltage box is askew. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, it's just knocked to the side. So, yeah, we need to make a call on whether or not we're going to do this. And if we do, I can probably dig up a spare 12LP4 or 2, but they don't have to grow on trees. Alright, so why does this interest me? Well, I have several of the 50T series. So these were the models they sold in 1950. That's why they start with 50. There were a number of models, the 1400, 1401, 02, 03, and 04. All different cabinets. I thought they all had the same chassis. It turns out they do not. They do not. I think there are a lot of similarities, but definitely just even looking for pictures, the component layout's different. Power transformer's different. So I think this might be different from the few others I have in my collection, but I haven't worked on any of them. They're kind of intimidating for a few reasons. One, there are a lot of caps underneath, most of them the Bumblebee variety. 2, the goofy CRT mounting technique they used. CRT is not mounted to the chassis, which is a plus in terms of servicing the chassis. Slides out. But the way they mounted the CRT is kind of goofy, especially in this model. So there is a sort of a metal halo around the front of it with struts, I guess you'd call them, that come all the way to the back. Go to this collar where the yoke and electromagnetic focus coil are mounted, and then this mounts to the cabinet. So the CRT is held in place by this sort of spiderwork metal frame here that's mounted to the cabinet. And that became far more common in later sets when they got into 21, 23, even 27-inch black and white CRTs. You want them mounted to the cabinet because they're so damn big and heavy, and you just want to be able to slide the chassis out. The problem is, how do you work on it when it's on the workbench? How do you power it up? Yeah, I have test CRTs I could plug into this, but you need this stuff too, and this stuff is attached to this stuff. In order to get this stuff off, you have to basically dismount everything. So, yeah, and a fellow restorer on YouTube is working on a similar set, and he's facing the same problem. And what we conversed a little bit, and our conclusion is possibly you take the chassis out, you do all the work that you think needs to be done, and you got to slide it back in the cabinet to try powering it up. That's not ideal. And I can see that wires have been cut on this already. So perhaps somebody was tinkering around. The yoke plugs into a socket on the chassis. There's one possibility is if you can get this stuff off, then you could leave the picture tube in the cabinet maybe and use this on the workbench. Because I don't know, can you take these, maybe you can take these nuts off and take this assembly, the yoke and such, off the CRT, and leave the CRT will still be supported in the front. I'm not so sure about that. That's one of the challenges to working on this set. Now, since the CRT is trashed, I don't care about it, so I got to take it out anyways. But more importantly, what's going on with the chassis? What's underneath? Let's see what we feel underneath this cabinet. Okay, it is solid wood. I thought there might be a big cutout in the middle. It's all solid wood, and there are some louvers cut out down below. My concern being if there was a big opening on the bottom, the critters might have been going in and out of underneath and chewed up all the wiring and stuff. All right. Here's a better look at the label. The code, that's important. That's a hallmark of Philco, is they, be it radio or TV, they'd have a model, then there'd be a code, 123, 124. Those would indicate variations on the chassis, and you really need to know which one you've got to get the right service info. Alright, let's see what we have to work with. Some splotches of corrosion. A bunch of the tubes were plucked out for some reason. Now, given that all the original screws were still in the bottom, I'm wondering if somebody tinkered around with this and tried to fix it just by working on the top and swapping out tubes, in which case it could be all original down below. Also start poking around for knobs. I found a knob. So these are metal, cast zinc maybe? A little bit heavier than aluminum. They're not steel, I don't think. This would go like this for these concentric knobs. I know I have a box of more Philco knobs somewhere. Somewhere being the operative word. I gotta hunt around for them. I just found them not too long ago and I just misplaced them again. Tuner looks a little complicated. So another quirky thing about these sets, they use some Loctite tubes, specifically in the tuner. I think it's the 7F8. Yeah, a little dinky tube. One of the earlier tubes that could handle the VHF type operation. So I'll go in there. I think there might be one more. Or not. Oh yeah, here we go. So it's 7X7. There might be more. I don't know, they're trying to use up inventory or what. I'm pretty sure they're the only TV maker to use Loctite tubes. Oh, no, did a Westinghouse recently that did, so I shouldn't say that. Alright, are you ready? There we go. Alright, so it is in really good condition. Hasn't been munched on, hasn't been clipped up, hacked up. Might be all original. Certainly all this is original. All these bumblebees, including at least one that's already cracked open. The only thing that I could possibly see at first glance that might be a replacement is this. Yeah, there's two. With the lead ends twisted together in parallel, and it's a little crude on that guy, so that guy down there. But the rest of it seems crazy that somebody would go to all the trouble to pull the chassis out and just replace one cap. But then again, different priorities back when that was probably done. They just wanted to get the set done as cheaply as possible for a customer and get it out the door. So, this is what you want. This is what you want to see. Harking back to my Beginner's Guide to TV Restoration series about what to look for. Now, oftentimes when you're buying a set, you can't, you know, it's a luxury of pulling the chassis and looking underneath. But if you do, if you can, this is what you want to see. Time to take reference photos. Always take reference photos before you do anything. Grab your phone, take pictures. No reason not to. Now, the reason it's so nice that it's all original, aside from it looking nice, is that you get yourself Sam's Photo Fact and photograph the underside of the chassis with calls to all the parts. This should match perfectly. Will make my job a little bit easier. Still a lot of work to do. I've never seen one of these working in person, I don't think. Maybe there was one at the ETF last year. But I believe these are rather good performers. So the trade-off to having all these caps is they work rather well. Let's take a look at inside the high voltage box. I noticed when I read the assembly instructions to Sam's Photo Fact, they talked about removing this grounding strap. It's actually a very flexible, I think it's aluminum, strip of metal with a clip on the end that snaps onto the yoke. Looks like there's just one screw left holding this on. And this, over the years, like I said, I've never restored one of these, but I have several sets, and I've seen other people working on them, and they have a question, what the heck is this for? That's so you don't lose the cover to the high voltage box. They attached it with a little flexible chain. That's all. Doesn't serve any critical functional purpose. It's just so it doesn't wander off, walk off. Alrighty, what have we got? We got a fuse. It's a nice thing to see. Bent coil, that's not a good thing to see. This guy up here, I don't think it's broken, it just bent down. Flyback is down in here. It's a bit different than type I'm used to seeing. So we got a candy wrapper down in there for some reason. There's a high voltage rectifier. Success. It's like a Hershey's Kiss wrapper. And horizontal output tube is one of those that was floating around. Looks a little burnt, a little baked. 6BQ6 GTA. Ooh, don't like that. Don't like that. We got a wire. Oops, we got a wire to nowhere. That's never a good thing. What the heck could that have gone to? We've got our lead for this. There's nothing else in the area, so that will go there. Things that it would have gone to one of these coils, but I don't see anything obvious broken off. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez, I'm a moron. That would have gone to, the cap's missing. It's the cap for the high voltage rectifier. Huh. Alrighty. Nothing that really scares me. And normally this would be where I would test the picture tube, but of course we aren't going to be doing that because we don't have one to test. but I will let the owner know that I'm giving it a thumbs up. And the other reason I wanted to do this now is it's that time of year. First weekend in May, we've got the Early Television Foundation Convention Auction at Swap Meet. And I'm hoping to, if I can't find the knobs I need here, I should be able to find them there. And maybe a back, maybe a picture tube, whatever else I might need. Other somewhat annoying thing about this set is a bunch of the electrolytics are rated for 475 volts rather than 450. So I will typically go with 500 volt caps. For those, I don't normally stock those, so I'm going to need to order some up. In other words, I'm always thinking several steps ahead. I need to acquire stuff I don't have in order to fully restore this, but I really like what I see on that chassis. That's going to be it for now. Wish there was more to do, but we can't really do a controlled power up or really anything else except maybe test the tubes, but I know I've got spares, so it's really not important. Hope you enjoy this video. That is all for now.